What's up, y'all? It's your boy TayDay back again with another episode, and you guys know it's Sunday, which y'all probably listening to this on Monday, and you know I got my man TK in the buildings. What's up, TK?
How's it going?
You know, guys, we got a very interesting topic today, especially for all you entrepreneurs out here. You know, or if you guys that just are looking to grow on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't just have to be if you are looking to start your own business. If you're just trying to if you're just trying to grow within the system that you work in, or just grow as a human being, I believe that this is something that can help you, because I believe everybody has their time where they look up to someone and they are looking for something more. They're looking to get something out of it, and also kind of how to recognize that. So today, me and TK want to talk to you guys about mentorship, okay? So me and TK have our own opinions on the subject. So today we're just going to go ahead and let it rip. I feel like this is going to be a fun topic to talk about, and it has just a lot of different angles to look at it. So TK, first of all, I want to really go ahead and ask you, what is your definition of a mentor?
Someone who helps you basically improve objectively. Maybe you have a common thing, like you have one thing or a couple things you want to improve, and then they help you reach those goals. Okay. And that is the point of that mentor. Is they have something you want in terms of they can do things you can't. Mm-hmm. For example, if there's someone who's your height but can dunk and you can't, and you're like, how did they do that? They probably had a training regimen. You go with that, you train with them, they show you what they did, they mentor you and show you how to train, so that over time eventually you can, like, for instance, start dunking at your height. It's probably like a great example, something you can relate to as a trainer.
Right. Which is, that is a great thing to go off of. But since we're talking about so there's a difference between that training and mentoring. Wouldn't you consider mentoring being more of a psychological standpoint?
I actually don't see any difference between mentorship and training, because you have to improve something to reach your goal, right? Mm-hmm. So that means you have to change things and you have to train, right? I now that you pointed it out, I actually don't really see a difference in terms of like a mentor, though. It's usually based more off of like training. We probably associate more with physical, mm-hmm. or like something involving sports most of the time, or some form of competition usually. And mentorship we usually associate with like business. Mm-hmm. But in all honesty, I don't really think there's a difference in the term of what is happening. Maybe it's like more mental scale, but it's about maybe you're not necessarily like, because it's a bit different. It's about changing your habits. Right. When it comes to business, it's like the things you're actually doing. Are you sending this email actually? Like, are you talking to so many people actually? So it's different in that sense, but there's a parallel to it, like a mirror image, maybe a bit different, but I feel like it's the same idea. Like, you're changing what you do, because like, for instance, like these people didn't do this certain exercise this way. They're changing what they do. Whereas, I never talked to 50 people a day. Now you're changing what they do. So in terms of that, like, it looks very different, but the idea is that you change what you do to achieve a result.
Okay, so when you break it down to that in that manner, I can see exactly where you're coming from, and me having past experience with training, I can definitely see exactly where you're coming from with that information. What I believe the difference will be between mentorship and training is more of the mentorship that it's more of a leadership role. Mm-hmm. So in training, there's different types of trainers. So I can be the type of trainer that can tell you what to do, you don't watch me, you never see me perform the exercise actually, mm-hmm. but I can keep telling you how it should be done, and you may have trouble with doing it. Or I could be the type of trainer that will show you how it's done. And as I'm doing it, I'll tell you about the key information, key notes here and there of why you need to do it this way, and give you a reason behind why it should be done this way, and where you should feel the muscles working, and so on and so forth. So when you break it down to those more detailed aspects, that's a leader. So even though
versus more like a boss role.
Right. So you can be a trainer could be a boss or a leader. So it has the same, I guess you can say, has the same leading roles as a supervisor.
I would probably put it that way: a supervisor versus a leader, because they're not doing anything; they're just watching you do it, and then commenting on it.
Yes. So yeah, those two things are really connect to one another. But when we're talking about just mentorship, I feel like it's more of you are what's it called? They call them intern. Mm-hmm. It's just like an intern. You may not be making any money off of it. It may not be any outer or physical improvements or collateral that you will be receiving, but all you're doing is like watching me through a TV, asking me questions, and I'm either answering them in the best way that I can, or give you only the information that I feel like that you can handle right now. That's the way I look at a mentor, because a mentor, they usually keep you at bay. So like Kanye West and Jay-Z, Kanye has a song, one of his better songs as well. It's an old song, but I forgot what album it's on. But he talks about he calls him Big Brother. Mm-hmm. So in the song, he describes Jay-Z as his big brother, and he describes how he mentored him and showed him the way and tagged him along. But when he thought that he was in the in crowd with him, he let him know that he wasn't. He kept him at bay, as his words say. And Big Brother was thinking a little different. It's also just another one of his lyrics or bars that he says in the song, keeping him away, letting him understand that, look, I allowed you to be around me and learn from me, but you're not going to get a piece of anything. And he also, what he did was he turned it around as he was growing from learning from watching his big brother, Jay-Z in this particular setting, grow. He started making money off of him. So he used him to make money off of him. But at the same time, this is reality, this is life. He's teaching him the cold, hard lesson of, okay, you're learning my information that I'm giving you. You're working hard. You're putting in the work, putting in the time, and you're still not making money. Now you're helping me make more money, but this is what you signed up for. Mm-hmm. So when I think of a mentorship, I think of a gritty, hard-nosed, you gotta be consistently, and you have to practice on your own. When you're around that person, you gotta be able to pick their brain. You have to stay focused on what the ultimate goal is for you. Mm-hmm. And for those people that do have mentors, I believe they're that 1 in a million. They're that 1 in 10 million. They're part of that 3% team. Mm-hmm. To become millionaires or be more successful, because a lot of people are not going to like that. A lot of people are going to get to their emotions. So when we're talking about this mentorship, when you describe it as training, it does work. That fits it perfectly, because in training, not everybody's going to want to take that pain. Not everybody's going to want to push out 25 reps on this day. Not everybody's going to be able to come in and push through their mentality And that's why I always told all my clientele is that fitness is more psychological than it is physical. Yes, you see physical growth. You will see that physical growth, whether it's weight loss or it's muscle gain, but it's really about your mentality. How to grow mentally to surpass the old you, to get over those habits that you said before. Once you're able to move past those old habits, you can start seeing the new benefits, the new growth, and you'll grow out of that shell. So that's just my vision, or the way I understand mentorship from the things that I've seen and the things that I've experienced, is that mentorship isn't the same. It's not the same as I don't believe that every mentorship is the same. Like I was before, when I was training under the gym owner, Anson, and when I trained under him, I felt like the first 1-2 years that I was there, that he was showing me the way. He was doing this, he was doing that. I was putting in the time, and I was also putting in the efforts to grow, to help not just me grow, but help the business grow. I was being selfless. But as my 3rd, 4th, and 5th year being there, ending it off in that 5th year, I've slowly learned to think, going back, that everything that he was telling me, yes, he was telling me valuable information about contracted work, being a contracted trainer, how to keep up with this, what apps I should have, what information I should have to help me continue and become more successful as a trainer. But I never knew when that mentorship was going to end. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to recognize the signs, because he was my first and only so far mentor that I've had. So I never knew when to be like, okay, now it's time for me to venture off.
Right.
I just knew that, okay, this isn't going to be good for me to be here anymore. That's the only part that I knew. I didn't know who I could latch onto, or how to grow to another mentor. So can you tell me a little bit of information, since you've had more than one mentor? What are some signs that people can look for that could help them understand that, okay, well, this mentor he was great or she was great, but I think it's time for me to move on, and maybe I need to go and find me another mentor.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Because the thing is not good mentors will know when you don't need them anymore. When they've taught you what you're there to learn from them, and they'll be like, okay, shoot, go away, find someone else. Or I know somebody, go talk to them now, because they're going to help you in that area where I'm not good at, but you want to grow in. Or that maybe they're learning from them the same thing too. A good mentor will be able to see that, they're there now. Like, they finally reached it. It's like, maybe they're not like perfect, but they're there by themselves now. Like, you would absolutely be able to see what that's like in training. Mm-hmm. You know exactly what that looks like in that area of life. And a good mentor knows that and is like, okay, you're either ready for the next thing for me to teach you, or you're ready to go off somewhere else and learn something else from someone else who's better at it. Because especially in sports, most people have like multiple coaches in different areas of their life.
Right.
Maybe there's one, like a tennis person learns their front swing from one person and their back swing from another person.
Yeah.
But the thing is that not all coaches, not all, like great mentors, not all of them are going to know that you're ready, or they can't identify it, or they have that flaw where they can't, or refuse to. So because you need to know when you've learned something. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, you need, before you even go into mentorship, or if you're in mentorship right now, you need to ask yourself why you are there. Like, what are you trying to achieve by being under this person? And be able to write it down too. Like, I am under this person, I'm learning from this person, and like you're probably giving something to them too in exchange, because you can't, like maybe you're working for them for free, or like you're in business, and so you're helping their business earn money while you learn from them, so that you can eventually like later just go off and do it on your own. But as thanks for that, you're helping them grow and helping their business succeed, which is very common, like an internship. Like you're basically working for free to learn from them, which is awesome. So, but how do you know? And you need to know exactly what that is. It's like, I'm under here to learn this, and that. And it's like, and usually the way you know that you learned this, and that is you can perform this, and that. Like you're doing it. Like you're actually achieving this stuff on your own. Because while you're under them, you should be going over together and how to achieve these things. And then they should recognize that, okay, you've done this, but you should be able to as well. Like you can't just lean on your mentor to guide you for everything. You should start to take personal responsibility for your own growth.
Right.
So you need to know what you're learning and when you have learned that. And the way you know you've learned that is you've applied it over like many, many, many times. And to the point where it's second nature. And when you've accomplished learning those things, maybe there's things that other mentor can teach you, and that's great. But I think you should have an idea of beforehand what you're learning from them, or find out right now why you're there, why you went to this person to learn from them, and then start tracking that. Start measuring your progress on your own.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, I believe. Is
And how many people do that though?
I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people, usually a lot of trainers, they say they usually have a program where it's like, I track that for you.
Well, yes. In training aspect, yes. It's very important to keep track of what your clientele is doing, whether it's, they maxed out at this, or if we're talking about how many days they worked out, reschedules, whatever. You just keep track of everything that you guys are doing. Even nutritional. I always kept track of the nutritional advice that I would give out as well, just in case that something new comes up and be like, oh well, that's not right anymore. So
right.
I need to let this person know. So
or it's time to switch it up.
Right, and also for legal purposes,
of course,
you want to make sure that you keep track of everything. That way, everything will be recorded. And for me, keep my fingers crossed. I've never had anyone even think about in the 5 years, or even speak about in doing any legal allegations towards me. So
awesome. Yeah, because you did everything the right way the first time.
Yeah, and that stuff that was taught through my schooling. I really only can think about the things that stuck with me from my my mentorship was just learning how to be a little bit more creative with workouts, like attaching resistance bands with weights and stuff like that.
Those are nuts.
and just that learning more on the business side of things, of like contracting, keeping receipts, how to play the system. So that I won't be owing the IRS a lot of money.
No kidding. Yeah. So you learned all that. And I think, once you're you've kept track of that, maybe you could even make a checklist out of everything you learn and be and for instance, let's say you've made your list of what you're learning now. Start making a checklist and start checking that off every day. It's like everything has its own check mark. Like, did I do this today? Did I apply that today? Did I apply that today? And by apply, I mean, did you physically go out and do it? Like, you make a plan for them, and then every day, they have a checklist of every workout they're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say you have a 5 circuit. It's like for every 1 circuit you do, you mark that off, and then you've got 5 squares next to it. Because it's a 5 circuit, how many circuits of this exercise did you complete? Right. And it's because by that point, you're measuring application. Because your goal is, let's say, to fill up every 5 slot of that. You're doing the entire workout for 5 full circuits. Like, that's your goal. And then, like, so that's like, for instance, maybe like your first month. And then for the next 2 months, it's to keep it there. It's to keep that standard right where you want it to be. And I think at that point, and this could be applied to anything, like, okay, I'm talking to 50 people a day, I'm doing this and this and that, I'm emailing these people, I'm talking to this, I'm shooting emails out, I'm applying what I've learned, like, for like sales or anything, like I've updated my website in such and such way that is in my plan. It's like, or like I'm writing my articles once a week or planning it out. You're starting to measure your application. And I think once you've done that, then, and you're there, then you've completed what you've wanted with that mentor. Mm-hmm. And then the mentors will probably have more to teach you, which is great. Or you can switch mentors. Or you can do what I do and just stop mentorship altogether for a period of time, like what I was telling you about. Because early on, when I first ever got into personal development, I went through a lot of mentors in the sense that, like, I do consider, like, taking in information from books, lectures, emails, videos. I do consider that a form of mentorship. Because they're providing material so that they don't have to be there, but you can still learn from them.
Right.
So that way, in that sense, it's like this 24-hour mentorship you can have at any time you want, which is amazing. It's super convenient for you. So I would intake a lot of information. For example, me, it was back when I was learning how to get better at, like, dating and just better with my love life, enjoying it more, and just trying to improve it and date the people I wanted to. And eventually at some point, because I was just taking in so much information every day, like hours and hours and hours of, like, lectures, videos, and reading books and, like, taking notes and everything. And at some point it did feel like it was a lot and that I wasn't even being myself. And so what I did back then was, like, I'm just going to stop reading everything, listening to everything, and I'm just going to live my life for just 2 months. And then after those 2 months are over, it's like, I know by then I will have applied stuff, and then it'll be a part of me. Like, I don't have to think to apply it.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. And I guess that falls under repetition, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you, like, so basically what I'm getting out of it is if you are gathering too much information, it may cause too much stress, and you won't be applying anything.
You're literally overfilling your head.
Right.
And overcomplicating it.
Yes, and then when it becomes too complicated, that means you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So taking that break, focusing on just being yourself,
just
and
action.
seeing what you would be, what you actually will be applying, what have you learned, what you're performing. So
yeah, and while you're being mentored, I think it should be both. You should be learning from them, but in all honesty, I think it's mostly about action. Like, mentors will have you do stuff. Good mentors, like, you will be doing stuff the entire time you're with them. Mm-hmm. It's because they want to be there to see what you do, to improve your process or correct it. Like, and this is exactly what you notice as a trainer too. It's like you're there with them in that mentorship. In a sense, you're leading them, you're showing that. Because, like, I do agree with you. Good leaders show the people how to do it, and I think that's a great way to mentor, is to show people what to do. So that they're like, oh, this is possible, number one.
Yeah, and it makes people work harder. I mean,
like, they want to live up to it, in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, I mean, you wouldn't be someone's mentor if you didn't inspire them to do something.
Absolutely. People can get them excited about learning.
I mean, it's easy to see it too. I mean, just through my experience with training, some people, I had a few clients that would, and they actually were some of my retaining clientele, and long-term clients. They would ask me to, if things felt tough, they would ask me hey, could you do this with me? Mm-hmm. And it gives them such a boost to go and push through. And, it may be the last circuit. It may be just, the last 15 push-ups. whatever it is. Maybe sometimes, if I'm feeling good, I'll do the whole workout with them. So I have some clientele that that will pay me just to work out with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that that's the ultimate level, personally. I mean, someone just is willing to pay you so you can be there with them as a workout buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And and they are enjoying it, and it helps them push past their level. And I believe that it's a win-win situation. That person specifically is at a time in their lives where they're okay with investing in themselves, and they would rather have someone working out, doing it with them, and showing them the way, showing them how to persevere. Mm-hmm. Someone to show them how that mental toughness, that psychological level.
See it right in there.
Right. Like, okay, this person has done more or the same amount as I have, and they're still this motivated to keep going. They're motivated to do even more. That's the level I want to be at.
Right. By being around you, they kind of take that on. Right. Because some of the best mentorship I have received, specifically like in my work recently, is almost the exact same way you describe it. It's being around somebody who's able to have like that. They just have a different mentality than me.
Yeah,
and sometimes they've pushed through like a year, and I've only been through like a month and a half. And so being around them and being able to get like, because they're probably like, God, how do you stay so motivated? It's like, because I feel so good. And you like look in the mirror. It's like, I want more. And it's like, and being around people who are at that level you want, I think it's like tiny things that they take from you, maybe. Mm-hmm. For instance, maybe as you're working out with them, you're not really showing them what to do. Maybe you are helping them and like correcting them every now and then, or like, oh, like you could improve, like you got like your back is almost straight, like just a bit more. And if you weren't there, they wouldn't have known that. So like you are helping them in that sense, but at the same time, just by being around them, they're gleaning things from you. Mm-hmm. That's almost like osmosis. That it's like,
yeah. I mean, you
pick
by
it up
without knowing.
Experience with you,
right? And then it rubs off on them, and then it's second nature for them.
And then they level up in a sense, because that's what it feels like whenever like I'm out, whenever I'm out with the people who are mentoring me and just hanging out with them. It's like sometimes it's just like that one thing that kicks me up a level, that makes me even better.
Yeah, and it's some people that I'm around that. They just have a different mindset. Like they are on that other level where, especially like even like since you brought up work, just being at the job and, it's like, maybe you're complaining, maybe you just don't like how things are going at the time. Maybe business is slow and you want it to be faster because time moves faster when things are moving faster.
Oh yeah.
And maybe you just have that. You're not as motivated. You need that pep in your step, and then you have that one person or maybe two people that will do something or give you another way of looking at things.
Yeah.
And give you another opportunity of how you can look at it, and it's like, oh, you know what? I didn't think about that, and now you automatically feeling better than you were 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And then that person's doing it. And so now you're like, oh, well, that sounds like a good idea. I'm going to do what that person's doing. And so just having those type of people around, you doing it, you got one person doing it, then you have another person doing it, and now you have two people doing it. Then not too long, you got a third person, then you got everybody. And speaking of that, actually, there's a video that I have that's on Instagram of these people that I believe they're at one of those raves. I don't know.
Yeah, like a concert or something.
Yes. They're at the concert, and this person's just doing this free falling kind of dance. Mm-hmm. Only person. Everyone else is kind of laying down in their hammocks, doing their own things. And then, he's doing it by himself for a good minute. And just keeps doing it. And then another person comes and starts doing it with him. And, just kind of watching them, kind of doing it, kind of watching them, doing it. And then he turns around and starts showing him how to do it and doing it. So now they're both doing it and having fun doing it. 15 seconds later, you got a third man come in. Now you got a party. Two's a couple. Now you have three. You got a party. Now there's three people. They're doing it, having fun, throwing it. And then, no shit, like 30 seconds later, there's like 5 people come. Then there's more and more. And then now there's just this big old group in the same spot. It took this guy less than 2 minutes to start a whole dance party.
Crazy.
Of everybody doing the same type of crazy dance move, just flinging their arms. It made no sense. And it wasn't even music. You couldn't even hear any music. You could hear people, but you couldn't hear any music. I can't say if it was music or not, but just that kind of leadership, that kind of how
just willing to be there and do your thing,
right?
Even if it's different.
Being yourself, and
like daring,
being a leader, right? Doing something that somebody else is probably thinking about. I always think of that. That's something that stuck with me as well when it comes down to whenever I was in high school and stuff. People always told me, or teachers always told me, especially in college, it's like, it's ask questions. Even if you think it's stupid, ask it, because just because you may think it's stupid doesn't mean that somebody else may think that have the same type of question. But if you ask it, maybe you help them out, So I always ask. Ever since then, I was like, you know what, that makes sense, because I can relate to that. Because in middle school, I all the way up from elementary to middle school, I was a quiet kid. I always had questions, but I kept my hand down and just did the best I could, and just hope for somebody to ask that question, because I was just shy. But as I got to high school and college, I asked those questions, and people. I still do it today. Even in my training for my new job that I'm doing, I ask a question, and I have people come up to me that I don't even know. They're so like, I'm so glad you asked that question, because I thought I was going to ask a dumb question, because hey, I'm sure he said it earlier, but I didn't remember. I was like, yeah, but I wanted to make sure. I did it. I had it, but I had the right answer written down, or right information written down. But I wanted to make sure, because it was working into my favor. But I wanted to make sure it was working in my favor. So for that person, they're just like, oh yeah, and you know what? That question helped that person realize that they can afford to be in this training. So it built a friendship right then and there, just from asking a question, and it just shows so many benefits. So
of all just being willing to do something,
right, and as you said, talking about just mentorship and repetition. It takes time for you to be able to divvy up in that kind of information, or that confidence to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think one thing, like my personal philosophy is, like, get some new information, learn something that I've get these golden nuggets I've never had before, and then what the most important part is to just apply it and do it until it's just me, what I do. Because that's the entire point, is because when you look up to somebody, you're like, how do they do that? I want to do that. What you're really saying is, I want that to be something that I can do anytime, that I can pull this off no matter what. I can do a standing backflip at the drop of a hat.
Right.
Maybe that's because for me instance, I never could do a backflip, and I worked on it for 2 months until I could do a backflip, and now I can do a backflip anytime.
Yeah, it's a skill. It's a trade.
But it's like that repetition though. And you learn from that. Let's say anything. Let's say you want to, in your business, you need to talk to 50 people a day. You just most people say, you just got to do it. A mentor will show you how, like where those people are, how and what to say to them. Like they'll kind of give you some structure. And I think mentors should give you structure because systems work. Like, why reinvent the wheel? The wheel is just a system that has never stopped working. It's like the perfect, simple system. It does its job. And, like, it'll work on anything in terms of transportation. So, like, we have not changed that system in a really long time. So it's like, system and structure, I think, is amazing for the beginning. And then, like, and then once you've mastered that, I think then you can start tinkering with the system.
Yeah, and then you can,
But the thing is, systems work. And a good mentor should show you, like,
Everybody-
working out.
Yeah.
Like, you have, like, literally working out, fitness is a system. It's like, if you do this, you will get X result. And there's no reason to change it.
Yeah.
Everyone does the same thing when they're at the bench press. Everyone does the same thing when they do a squat. The systems work. It's just it's new for each individual.
Yeah. And, if you want to work certain muscles, you got to do certain things.
Yeah, like the systems work, and a good mentor will show you systems, and you should follow those systems. And once you've mastered them, then you can start playing around, like you mentioned, like with messing around with like tension with your workouts,
right?
Like changing it up, like you were starting to tinker with the systems, and be like, how does this change it now?
Right. How does it feel? What are the results?
But the thing is you're familiar with the system enough to know when is this thing affecting something? What is it changing?
Right.
Because you're familiar with it, though. Exactly. You've been through that repetition to be like, I know this, and so something that a beginner wouldn't be able to notice, you can because you know it.
Yeah, like you said, you level up, you master it, and there it is. You start doing whatever you need, whatever you kind of, if you want to add some creativity to it.
Yeah, like each repetition is like an experience point.
Right.
And it's like, and being able to perform it anytime, anywhere, I think, is when you've realized you've leveled up. Yes. and get results from it. Keyword is actually and get results from it, because that's what matters. Because if you're not doing this to get no result.
Of course not. I mean, you wouldn't go through. You're not just doing it just to do it. You're doing it so you can have an end goal. You always have, like you said at the beginning of it all. List it, write it out. Check off everything that you're doing. Know what you're doing. You have to have those goals right in front of you. You got to have this list, specifically what you want to work on, what you want to improve on. You have to have that list so you know if you are improving or not. Because if you don't know if you're just going and doing it, then what is the purpose?
Right.
Oh, I want to make $1 million, or I want to weigh 50 pounds more. I want to be a bodybuilder, but I'm just going to go to the gym and just
play around.
Yeah, basically, to go lift some weights. Try to lift the heaviest weights.
In quotes, just lift weights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
you
how
don't know what you're working.
That's how I hurt myself. My shoulder went click.
Well, we don't want to do that again.
No, I will never do that again. That's why I always have a trainer now.
Yeah.
Like, what's my limit again? Oh man. But here's the thing too, is like something you guys should keep in mind is that for me personally, when I'm trying to improve something, I personally always write it down. Like when I said like have like a checklist or like start to measure your application of something, I actually do that. I'm saying that because I do it. Like every single day, like when I'm out doing a job, I literally tack the things I do. Like I'm tacking, okay, I did 5, okay, I did 6. Oh, that led to this result. Okay, I'm tacking that result now. It's like I'm measuring it. So that way I see it. It's like it's not me in a sense, it's like the system. I'm working the system.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a great example.
For me, it actually helped my mentality a lot because all of a sudden it's not stressing myself, it's stressing the system. It's not, because otherwise, for me personally, that's what happens if I don't write it down, is I get stressed. But if I write it down, it's like, oh, it's just the system.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand that.
So it's right, because like I got to go through this set.
Like you said, you measure it. That system of measurement, it works for anything,
and it feels good to be like, I've done all this.
Yeah,
because I legit have like stacks of paper of this stuff being recorded, and then you have data.
Exactly, like you said. If I'm getting this result with 6, then and I want more.
Let's knock out 6 more and see what I get.
Right. Let's go up. Let's see how much. Let's do it consistently. Let's give it a week.
Let's keep pushing it.
Right.
Can I get this again?
Same thing. Right. It's the same thing as you're talking about. Making sure you're working the system that you designed yourself. You have to design that system,
or that someone gave to you.
Or yes, of course, if someone that has been through the system and giving you the system,
and they get it.
Right.
Absolutely.
As long as you have some kind of expertise on hand, huh?
Always, yeah. Because I think it's nice to get critique back. Because in terms of like a mentor, like they should be participating or like leading, showing you how to do it, watching you do it, and then giving you feedback. So because that way, because what matters is you doing it the right way, so you can get the result.
Right.
So they help you change things fast, really fast. Like they will watch you do 3 things and change something versus you doing 40 things, realizing what you did wrong, changing that one thing. Whereas with a mentor, 5 things could have been changed by then.
Right.
So
and that's why
we're talking about the good leadership mentor, someone who's paying attention and helping you.
Yeah, if you have someone that's good, that's paying attention, that can help you, give you direction. I personally don't feel like I have that.
I'm sorry.
In our mentorship, because there was never,
we
were never done. I don't know when I passed my basics.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's why it's important to start measuring it now.
Right. And that was where I felt it. I wasn't keeping tabs on my information.
But who told us to do this? We never. It's a simple thing though. It's one of those simple, elegant solutions that answers a lot of questions, fixes a lot of problems, but we just never think of.
Right.
Because why would we do that? But now when you know that this has a good result, start doing it.
Right. And now we got it all. Now we figured it out. Now we can start shrinking and being more accurate. Instead of having 100 things that we need to do, we can shrink it down to 50 or 30.
Because you knocked the rest out.
Right. And some things eliminate the other things.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So
but you wouldn't know that if you weren't paying attention to it.
Exactly. That's why we got to continue paying attention. Oh, man. That's a good topic.
That was a great topic. Yeah, we decided to just hit record.
Well, I hope you guys like this talk. I feel like that a lot of people believe they have mentorships or they have good mentors, and they never reflect or record what they're doing. So they never know when they have accomplished something, except if you're just, if you start performing it. And there's also the thing is, yes, you are on your mentor's time, but your time is just as important as theirs.
Absolutely.
So make sure that you're not wasting your time with the same mentor that's not giving you more information, but all they're doing is helping you practice the same things. If you're trying to learn something new that you feel like you've mastered, then you probably should see if that mentor has someone else that they can introduce you to that is an expert in that area, or just find another person. Because I've made the mistake of just sticking around with the same mentor that stopped mentoring me years ago.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what else to do after that. And I didn't record. I didn't continue recording. I'm not going to say I didn't record at all, but I didn't continue recording after a certain point of growth. So make sure you guys keep recording, stay focused, make sure you're working with a good mentor. If you want a mentor, it's totally optional, but we do think that we recommend you should have a mentor, just because it can help you eliminate those 50 of that 100 or 25 of that 50. It could help you better yourself faster.
Yeah, that's what they do, is they save your time.
Exactly. Well, all right, guys. Thank you, guys. I appreciate TK again for coming out and talking to us about the mentorship with repetitions today. Big TK and TayDay is out.
See ya.